Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Oh, look, we're bigger. I made us bigger for the time being. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. It's Monday Night Live, and I'm here with special guest Jaime Echt from the Crafters Workshop, all the way over in New York, New York
Woohoo!
State.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jaime.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So we're just I'm gonna talk about a few things before Jaime gets started. I'm so happy that Jaime's here, but I do want to mention we have our demo deal going today, and it's all the Crafters Workshop, 25% off the Crafters Workshop. And what I'm going to do, let me just grab. I'm going to make sure I put this in here. Oh my Oh my gosh. There we go. Finally. Okay. Comments. Hello, everyone. Hey, Lynn. Hi, Shell. Hi, Jennifer. So, yes, it is the demo deal, Crafters Workshop, 25% off. I've put the link there, and it's good for tonight and all day tomorrow. And Jamie's going to be talking about a lot of really great products from the Crafters Workshop. Hi, Christina. How are you? Hello, everyone. Okay, we got lots of people hopping on. Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hello. Hello. Yes, I'll be monitoring the comments. So if you have any questions or comments for Jaime, I'll pop them up on the screen. And Jaime can answer them, or I can answer them, or whatever. So let's get started because I have all my stencil butters. I was showing them to Jaime. Got all my stencil butters. I have my slimline stencil. We're going to play. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to spotlight Jaime, and I'll be here. Oh, look, hi, Julie from Winnipeg. Hi, J and J. Yes, it's the Julia and Jaime show tonight. That's absolutely correct. Okay. Let's Julia try and figure out. Nope, not that one. See, here I was telling Jaime, oh yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing. I
It's all good.
Oh yeah, no, here we are. Solo layout. That's what I want. And there she is. Jaime, take it
Woo!
away. What are you going to share with us tonight?
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, welcome from New York. Well, I've had the Crafters Workshop now for 26 years, and it's been a long time coming developing our stencil butter. We've had it for quite a few years now, and I developed it because I needed something that wouldn't, you know, slide underneath my stencil and would just stay on top because I love stencils, and stencils are the way that I can make the perfect impression of something without having to draw it or without, trying to figure out where it's going to be on the page. Like I know exactly where it's going to be. So just if you're a newbie to stencil butter, look at that delicious.
Oh, the
Now,
creamy
I know
goodness.
you can tell how well loved this is. It's creamy and it's glossy and it has a little bit of shimmer to it. And if you keep it covered, it lasts for a really long time. I mean, I have stuff in drawers that I've forgotten about and I'll open it up and it's still good. I will say the only one that I found that wasn't good once, I opened it and it was dry and I'm like, how did that happen? And then I looked and I saw that I had cracked my lid. So if you're like me and you occasionally drop them on the floor and then you pick them back up, take a look and to see if the lid is okay. If you did crack it, you could just put a piece of saran wrap over over it and then close it up and that will preserve it. So it's going to be all about stencil butter today, and we have 30 wonderful colors. So I guess I'll get started. I can't see the comments, so if there's anything really important, Julia, you just interrupt me and jump.
Absolutely. Yep. If I see anything, I'll pop it up on the screen for sure.
Thank you. All right, so I'm gonna.
Don't forget, everyone, you can ask questions. I'm here. I'm watching the chat. Oh my gosh, I'm loving it already. Look, she hasn't even got her camera set, and look at those gorgeous feathers.
So let me just tighten this, make sure it's all good. How am I looking? I'm looking pretty good. Okay, so that I can move this a little bit over, right? Yeah. Okay. Is it Can you see it like spelled the right way and everything?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep. It looks good.
I never know when it's going to turn my stuff backwards. Like it's going to be a mirror image. So I thought we would start with this. Yeah, we can see this good. This is called the Slimline Layered Joy Feather. And I know that Julia has a bunch of these. And if she runs out tonight, I know we're really good about restocking everything for her. We make everything in the United States, so it's not so far away. It's not like we have to wait for a ship coming in from China. So if she happens to run out, make sure that you get a special order in so that you get this, because this is a really fun stencil. And it's here. I'll let you see the actual stencil. So everything comes on one sheet, which is really nice. That way you're not going to lose any of the pieces. And just so you know, if you're ever not sure, like your friend is using a stencil that you love, let's see if I can, you see how if I tilt this a little bit, you can sort of see the name. Here we go. You can see the style number in the corner. If I tilt the light just right, they're etched. So all of our stencils have a style number on the corner. Just give it a little tilt and you can see what it is. So if you find that somebody's got one that you love, find out what the style number is, and then Julia can order it for you. So all three parts are on this one stencil. And if you've never used a slimline before, the cool thing about a slimline is that it came out of just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that and you know that if you, in the olden days when we used mail, you could take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and then you can fold it twice into three parts, and then it fits into a regular business envelope. And at least here in the States, is it same by you guys? It's the same. It's one
Yeah.
state.
Yeah, the standard business envelope. Yeah, 4 by 9. I think they are.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody very smart came up with this idea to have something called slimline, which is basically 1/3 of this 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So you get essentially 3 cards, or you can get one folded card. So here's front, back, and then a piece that you can cut out that you can layer on. So 8.5 by 11, and a slimline is 3.5 by 8.5 inches. And that's what we're going to be playing with. And I actually pre-cut this for a layer. And so if the final size is 3.5 by 8.5, this little layer is 3.25 by 8.25. So that way you're going to have 1/8 of an inch all the way around, or basically a quarter. So the other cool thing that I did, because I like things to be very easy, is I made it so that if you cut your paper to 3.25 by 8.25, you'll see that there are etched, let's see if there are little etched lines going around this. Let's see if I tilt it just, let's see, you can see that there's like a line, that etching that goes around. Well, if you take that little etched line and you put your layered card right behind it and line it up, it'll line up perfectly on the first part of the design. And then when you slide it over and do the second part and the third part, everything matches up. It's all matchy-matchy. You'll see that you have your choice of 2 words. I'll do it this way. You can do joy or soar. You can do anything you want. I just wanted to give you 2 options to do some words. So that's the fun part about all of our layered stencils. We have many of them, and many of them are hanging in Julia's store and online. And they're all layered and they come in a package, and you'll see what's on you don't have to open it. You can just look on the back, and there are no pieces. It's just one solid 8.5 by 11 sheet of stencils. And then you can just store it at home in a little sheet protector in a binder. So that's a little bit about the fun of using these stencils. And now I'll just quickly show you. Here are just a few different examples of what you can do with this particular stencil. And the reason I love layered is it allows you to separate out colors without blending. So especially when you're using something like a wet medium like stencil butter, um, you can blend, but if you want to keep, the red from running into the purple or the gold from running into the silver, that it's nice to have it separated. You do have to wait while everything dries in between. So here are some pretty things. I always gravitate to the sparkly shiny. Um, and this
That's
is
gorgeous.
isn't this fun? I know, and I
Love
added a bling.
it.
I love this. And a little mirror paper for the background. That always makes things pop. Now here's one where I did just the center with stencil butter. And then I used blending brushes and dye inks for the feather part. And then this one is just all ink, all dye ink. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid if you've never used stencils and you're afraid and you don't use any of the wet medium. You can do all of this with dye ink. And if you're feeling a little bit adventurous, we can use some stencil butter tonight. I make stencil butter in very pretty colors, so it's not grungy and yucky, and it behaves very nicely. It stays right where you put it. So we're going to use some stencil butters, and we're going to start off with some stardust butter. So let me clear my area and get started. So I'm going to line it up. Like I said, here's my layer. And sometimes what I do is I find that like a top, like a corner, hold my finger down, and then I just pivot until it seems like it lines up. If you want to, you can tape down your paper and that way it won't move. I just can't find my tape right now. So, now let me move this up a little so you can see it a little bit better. There, that's better. Yeah, I just can't find my tape. It's big and I think it ran away. So anyway, we're going to use something called platinum stardust butter. And what this is clear gel with a super, super fine glitter suspended in it. So let me show you what that looks like. Oh, I think this one might be even brand new. Oh, I'm getting to use a brand new one. It's my lucky day. Okay.
The stardust butters are amazing.
Oh, aren't they fun? I love them. I love them. So I'm going to take my palette knife, and these are great. They're inexpensive. They clean up. Julia has a ton of them. And when you're playing with stardust butter, I give it a swirl because the glitter is a little bit heavier in weight than the gel that it's sitting in. So if it's been sitting for a little while, I just have to give it a little stir. But I mean, just ooh, can you look at how creamy this is? Just look at that. I love it. I love it. So anyway, stir, stir, stir. I'm gonna just wipe off my palette knife a little bit, and I'm gonna pull a little bit of the stardust on the bottom side of my palette knife. The reason I do it on the bottom is because I'm going to be spreading it. So if you've decorated a cake before, this is very similar. So let's see. Can we see? Yeah. I'm just going to start at the bottom. You can do it whatever way you like. And I'm actually going to put a little bit here, take a little bit off, and I'm just going to smear. I'm like running out a little bit. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more, and I'm holding it down. You don't want to have the paper bouncing up and down. I'm going to get a little more over here, and I'm at a 45-degree angle. And I'm going to pick a little bit more up from underneath there. And I'm coming this way. I'm holding it down with my 2 fingers and just spreading it. Get that last bit on top. And I'm not going to play with it. Like, I am done. And I'm not going to put any extra back into the jar because and I'm closing my jar too, as you notice. And I'm not doing that because once it's out in the air, it's already starting to dry. So if you put it back into your jar, you're putting dried up stuff into your jar, and then you end up with these like hard boogers. We don't want that. So no,
is that the technical term for it?
It's very technical. No hard boogers. And I'm going to wipe off my palette knife. It wiped off very nicely. I sometimes throw it into some water, but you do want to wipe stuff off whenever, you know, it should get cleaned off. And I'm leaving this on for too long, so you're not going to do this. But notice I'm going to hold it down with one finger at one corner, and I'm going to peel back from the other corner. And I'm actually going to stick this into a little dish pan of water, just water, but that's how I ensure that it's going to come off, which that's kind of important. So let me hold this up. I got some nice coverage. I love, and you can get some really fine detail from this because the glitter is so fine. That's what makes you able to get these really, really fine lines. If I had chunky glitter, it wouldn't go through the stencil, or at least not my stencil, because my stencils are so intricate. So I love this. I made this just for us. So let me put that away to dry. And in the summertime, I often have a fan going in my studio, and the fan is awesome for drying my projects. And in the winter, I'm sure you do too, I have a little heater by my feet, and then I find I put my stuff by the heater, and that works too. So because I knew I was going to be doing this, I figured let me make one ahead of time. So here is one that is already dry. Can you hear that? It has like a little bit of like a sandpaper sound. I love it. And I mean, the detail, it is so fine. And so I think this is amazing. So anyway, this is done, ready to go. And let's see if I was smart enough to grab a second stencil. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just not that smart. I thought I was, but I'm not. So let me just dry my stencil. And the one thing that stencils and projects don't like is to be wet. Wet and stencils is not a good combo. So I'm just gonna quickly dry this. I have duplicate stencils of everything else we're playing with, but not this. That was like beyond brilliant. Hang on.
So we do have somebody asking. Now, I have done a demo where you can use the heat tool.
Oh yeah.
And bubble your butter.
Yes.
Done that. So somebody's asking, can you heat set the butters without it bubbling up?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. You have to do it carefully. Hang on, let me just put my stuff away. So yes, you would do it just as if you were trying to dry something like on a piece of paper, and you don't want to, like, let's say it's a fine piece of paper. The way you would do is you go over and over, moving your heat tool. Now, I have one of these. This is a major heat tool. I mean, this thing gets super hot. It's 1400. I don't know. It's 1400 something. It's you can melt plastic. But if you have one of those lovely little, white hair dryer type ones, you have less of a chance of making it bubble. You just keep moving your hand over and over and over. And I totally could have done that with the Stardust butter. The Stardust butter will not bubble, by the way, but the stencil butter will bubble. And also there's a lot of fun things you can do with the stencil butter with bubbling. If you do it right away, you get big bubbles. And if you wait a little bit of, you wait an hour, you wait till almost the next morning, you get these super fine little effervescent bubbles. So a lot of fun that you can do, but you don't have to bubble it. You just do want to keep an eye on not bubbling it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Good question. Thank you. So
somebody asked, do we have the stencil? Yep, we do. I just dropped the link in the comments. So yep, you can find the stencil that Jamie is using right there in the comments.
Yay. Okay, I'm lining this guy up. There we go. You can kind of see through it. You can see where everything lines up. And what I'm going to do so that on one of them, I'm going to actually, I made myself two little projects here. So I'm going to do one with stencil butter and one with dye inks so that you can see both. Okay.
And somebody asked earlier if you could use oxide inks, and you absolutely can use oxide stencils.
Yeah, those are beautiful. Absolutely. Love, 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 love. I was going to use silver, but now I feel like I want to use gold and this beautiful hydrangea. Thinking that would be pretty. Any requests?
I think those colors are excellent.
I like them. Okay, I'm gonna start with my champagne gold. And I'm gonna pick a little bit up on the back of my stencil on my palette knife. And notice, I mean, I may not turn the cap all the way, but I do lay the cap back on when I'm not using it. So, and then I have the joy word here, but I'm going to ignore that it's there. And you can put a piece of tape over it. You could put a piece of paper over it. I'm just going to hope that I'm not a total dingling and I touch it. But I'm touching my palette knife down on the paper, and I'm just tilting my palette knife at a 45-degree angle, and I'm blending it, smearing. And notice I'm not rubbing. I'm not going back and forth. I'm being kind of careful. And again, to lift it off, I'm going to hold down in the bottom corner. Can you see that? Yes. And then I'm going to roll it back from the diagonal. And what this does, this avoids the smearing that you often get when you're playing with your stencil. Now this is wet, so I'm going to put this somewhere to dry. And I'm going to clean my palette knife. And again, I mean, what I could do, before I take it off, one of the things I like to do, hang on, is sometimes I'll just take a piece of scrap paper that I think, well, maybe I'll use this another time. It's a nice piece of scrap paper. And I might just take some of my extra stencil butter and just make a background.
I always have a little stash of tags here at my desk, and that's what I'll do with my extras. I'll just grab a tag and like smear it across, but great for die cutting out sentiments or.
I love that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna dry. This is beautiful when it dries. Yeah, I have. It's funny. Like you have a bunch of tags. I have a bunch of papers with stencil butter.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'll show you some.
I've used them for die cutting out sentiments, like the sentiments that's got the scripty writing and then the shadow die.
Ooh.
Great for using those extra little bits of stencil butter that I've smeared on tags. I'll just die cut it out and it looks fabulous.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Oh, yeah. I like what this Facebook user says. It's too pretty to waste. Absolutely. Don't waste that gorgeous stencil butter.
I agree, because although you make a peanut butter sandwich, you put the extra peanut butter back in, it's not a big deal. But I always feel like, well, of course I want to use it. So how much use it? Exactly. I'll show you some of the, here, let me grab this is on the side of my, oh my gosh, whole bunch. I mean, this one, it's like all different colors that I just kept adding to. And here you can see, I actually I needed that color, so I punched it out. And here was a pretty piece of light blue. There were some different blues, like, I might need a little piece right here or a little piece. So I have like all of my favorite colors. And depending upon what you've got left and how thick it is, often determines what it looks like when you put it down on paper. Okay, so while I'm letting that dry, I'm going to do a quick little, some magic using dye inks. And whichever dye inks you love, those are the ones you should use. Oh, that's still a little wet. Hang on a sec. So I wonder how many people have a sink in their studio, which might very well be the kitchen table. But I know some people like are lucky enough they're either down in the basement and they've got the slop sink, or I don't think we're in my studio.
Oh, do you know what? We just had a question from Dion here, Jamie.
Yep.
She's asking, what paper do you use for stencil butters? What do you recommend?
That's an awesome, good question. I recommend using either our watercolor paper, and that comes in a pack, or
Which we carry that as well.
oh, I love it. Yeah. And what I like about our watercolor paper is there's kind of like a pebbly side and there's a smooth side. So depending upon what you're going to do, if it's some really fine work, if you're going to be stamping on it as well, I like the smooth side. But if you just are going for some really good texture, I like the pebbled side a little bit more. But if you have anything that's called mixed media paper, that works nicely too. You just want to avoid using like text weight paper, some of that very, very thin scrapbooking paper. That's going to ripple, and it's not going to have as nice of an effect as you think you want. So very good question. You've got to use some decent paper to get a decent look. All right. So what kind of dye ink pads do you sell in the store? What brands besides Ranger?
We've got Catherine Pooler.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Catherine Pooler and Distress are major ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love those. Okay. Well, I like Catherine Pooler too. Tiki Torch, Tiara, Lime Ricky. Those are
that's a great color combo.
nice. I love color. And
what were those colors again? Can you?
Okay, so I've got Tiki Torch. That's this like sweet little like tangerine one. Then this one is Tiara.
Yeah.
The yellow one. Lime Ricky is the green one.
Awesome.
Do you carry her reinkers?
Yes.
Okay, because it is so important that when you buy one of these ink pads, you buy the reinker too, because especially if you're going to be using a blending brush, it gets used up so fast. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm the cheapest person, but I certainly tried without buying the reinkers, and really I just was able to do a few projects, and then I was like, oh, now I need. So I recommend when you buy one, you buy the other. You buy them together so that, because let's be honest, what time are we usually doing this? 1 a.m. And
yeah.
Is Julia's store open? No.
Well, the online store is open, but it doesn't mean you can come pick up the.
I know. Yeah, that's not going to work.
No, it doesn't work.
No. So get the reinker now so that you'll have it. So I am going to just tap it. I sometimes tap it off a little bit just so I don't get a big smudge. And I'm going to start with the Tiki Torch. And I'm also being careful not to do the joy right there. I could. Actually, it would actually look really pretty, but I'm gonna wait and see what color I want. Then I'm gonna hit it with a little Tiara. And then I'm gonna go into Lime Ricky. Okay.
That's a great color combo.
Thank you. I like it too. Okay, so here we go. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Yeah, and I'll point it out right now, but I do love how we have the texture and the shimmer of the Stardust butter, and then the smoothness of the dye ink. But wait, there's more. So now we're going to line it up so that you can do the second part. Let me make sure you can see that. Yep. And So this is the fun thing about using a layered stencil. Let me just get that. There we go. That looks beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And let's see. Yeah, I'm going to, for this one, use pixie dust and It's a Boy. Let's see how that should look really cool. And I'm purposely doing the orange, the pixie dust near the, the purple near the orange versus the blue near the orange, because blue and orange, if you know your color wheel, they're on opposite sides. So that can be a little bit, a little jarring. It can be a little bit too contrasty.
Yeah.
So let's see. This is the pixie dust. And then do It's a Boy. And I'm just checking to make sure I got there's no white areas, which there aren't. And now for the big reveal. Oof.
Ooh.
Isn't
that is gorgeous.
I love, love, love. And then what I often will do for this one in particular, I love adding bling, like right at the tips. You can kind of see where I put a little splash of something.
That's a fantastic idea.
Little bling goes a long way.
I love that one.
Isn't
that gold and silver one that you
I know.
That was gorgeous.
So this one is done with our tacky when dry and foil. Yeah, we're gonna do a little tacky when dry in a moment. But
getting lots of love in the comments.
Ooh. Maybe what we'll do is we'll do the joy part. Grabbing my tacky and this. I think for this guy, joy would be really nice. Put my toys away for a sec. Isn't it true that like we end up with everything out in one place, all over the place, everything at once, all over, all over.
You make one card, and it's like your entire craft room has just exploded.
I know.
How does that happen? I don't even know.
Well, that's my argument for doing multiples of the same card. I mean, it's like it's going to be the same amount of mess. So really,
that's true.
Why not? So I just cleaned it off a little bit. I'm going to open up my tacky when dry. Love this. Now it looks like Elmer's glue. It's white, but it dries completely clear and it's sticky. So I'm just going to hold this down. I've got a little bit on the underside and I probably have a little too much, but and I'm just okay. And I'm going to roll it off. It's sticking a little. Ha! Go. Okay. I don't know if you can see it's white. And we're just going to hope that this dries before the night is over so you can see what we're doing. And you can see I've got some stuff on here. I have to wipe it off immediately or else. But I've also got stuff on my palette knife and I can't stand to waste that. So I feel like I want to do a little word of something. I got to clean that, but I'm going to grab this stencil. I know what I'm going to do. Okay, little stencil. I'm going to drop him in some water. That's what I'll do. And by dropping him in the water is how I stop the drying process. So this one is 6015, and this is one of the daisies, actually. It's this one, Slimline Layered Triple Flowers. And
I think we still have that one in stock too.
okay, good, because I know you bought a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the thank you. I'm just going to line it up right here. And I've still got some stuff on my, actually, you know what? Go crazy. Let's see how many I can get. I think I might be able to get the thank you and thinking of you. Let's see. I'm going to do this one. Beautiful. Now, gently moving my fingers over, I'm going to do thinking of you. And hopefully I'm not, I don't think I smushed it. Well, time will tell. So I've got these two so that I'm not wasting it. And now I will clean off my palette knife. I would keep going. If you weren't on here, I'd be going all over my studio to find more things to little words to make, because that's what I do. I make these like extra little, I make these extra papers and then I put words on them. And then sometimes I keep them sticky and waiting until what color I want to use all of my pretty foils. I keep them in a little basket. But the trick is when this is dry, it is truly, I mean, we call it tacky when dry for a reason. I mean, it's more than tacky. If you lay something on top of it when it's dry, it might as well be stuck. So I'll put a piece of wax paper over it, or I lay it in places where nobody's going to disturb it. And I'll be like, oh, what was that one? Oh, thinking of you. I think I'll use that. So that's my crazy inside thoughts of what I'm doing. You would think I didn't have, jars and jars and, I am just like you. I just want to make the most of everything. So I'm just wiping this off. Now, if you end up with tacky when dry on your stencil, it will dry as a film and it will be very sticky. But guess what? All you need is isopropyl alcohol, and you just let it sit for a few minutes, and then you're going to be peeling off the basically it's a dried gel. You're going to just peel it off like you would rubber cement. So it happens. I accidentally I let it dry. I left it in a bucket of water, and the water evaporated. So that's what I did.
We have a question, Jamie.
I'm ready.
Julie's wanting to know if the tacky when dry can be dried with a heat gun.
Well, it can. You want to make sure though that you don't bubble it. So if you want that nice smooth texture like I have on here, see how smooth that is, then you have to put it on in a very smooth coat, and you can't bubble it. So yes you can, but you have to really watch what you're doing, and be patient, and just kind of over and like, it's sort of like when you're blow drying your hair. I mean, when you're blow drying your hair, if you keep the blow dryer on your hair is going to start to smoke. So it's kind of the same thing. Keep it moving. There we go. Ready to rock. And you should be fine. But the bigger the surface, the longer it's going to need to dry. If it's just a little word that's thin, but if you're doing a whole big section, like I was thinking before class, oh, I'll just do some of these flowers here. But honestly, this flower, I would let it dry overnight before I did anything, because you want it to be completely dry. So I think you do have some of these in the store, but if you don't, just know you can get them very quickly. There's so many cute things that you can do with this particular stencil also. Let's see. This is a very basic way of using. Oh, this was the other one, actually. I'm lying to you. Hold on. Here we go. We have a few friends. So this one is this stencil, and you can kind of see how these guys are here, and then here's the background, the purple, and then I did thinking of you and these little flowers here. So I did this This was all with dye inks, but then sometimes I get a little wild and crazy and I'll find a corresponding butter. And I like that because it then pops it. It has some shimmeriness to it. Did you end up making one of these in a class, Julia?
I did. I did a demo with those a couple of months ago, I think, about 6 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I love that stencil. I've used it so much. I've even done it where I've cut out the little, I guess you would call them medallions. I know daisies or whatever, but cut them out separately. Yeah, just like that in your hand.
Yeah. Well,
and pop them up. Mm-hmm.
Well, when I have a little bit of extra stencil butter, like sometimes, and like this is a scrap piece of paper. So I'll do I've got enough for 2, that's fine. And then you can just cut out these center parts too, and you can superimpose them on top of each other.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Isn't that fun? Oh, and then sometime, so I had a whole bunch of colors on my palette and I was playing with probably chartreuse. Oh, maybe I'll even do that. I love this color. This was
and my favorite thing to do with the stencil butters is use the pearl white. And not necessarily mix it, but just kind of get that kind of pearl white kind of going through other colors. Oh, I love it so much.
That is fun. Here, look at these. Look at these.
Oh,
right.
So, sorry, chartreuse, and what was the other one? Lime green.
Yeah, it's lime green, chartreuse, and our new baby seafoam yes. Butter. There's a whole bunch. There's 8 new pastels,
and those I have seriously reordered 3 times because they sell so good. They're gorgeous.
Yeah. Oh wait, I think I need to do that. And then here, I'm gonna. This is also another thing I love to do. I'm gonna kind of tell you, but I also love to make some words to use later. So here, let me move these over, and I'm going to take one of my sheets of watercolor paper, 8.5 by 11, smooth side. And I'm going to put, look how nicely, stencil just goes right there. And there we go. I'm going to use some palette paper. Let me see if you can see. Let me move this. Maybe I'll do it side by side. That probably makes more sense. Can you see that? Yeah. I want to make sure everybody can see what I am doing. All right. So I like using palette paper because then I can put what I want to play with. Here, this is the chartreuse. I can put it down and, kind of take a look at it. And I'm wiping my palette knife as I go. This is the seafoam. Oh, look at that. You just I mean, don't eat it, but don't you want to eat it? But don't you want to? But really, you know what? And you just, now I have white on my brain. Hang on. I'm going to put, this one is the lime green, and I'm going to go get the white because I feel like you are onto something there. White is white.
Julie has a question. Can you use stencil butter with the dome foams for a quick dry? Yes, you absolutely can, Julie. And I will actually use that and put a stencil butter on a background of a card.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with the dome foams. And it's just a nice thin layer and it dries instantly. So absolutely, you can apply them with the dome foam.
Nice. So I just added pearl white to our little concoction. Let me tilt these up a little so you can see them.
Sandy has a color combo suggestion: chartreuse, sea foam, and a purple.
Ooh, you thinking this one?
Oh, that one actually, is that hydrangea?
All right, girl. Your wish is my command.
Is that hydrangea?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Nice. That's one of the new ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Ooh. I, I think this little green might have to take a little vacay because I'm liking that. All righty, let's see what I'm going to do. Do a little this, little this. Okay, I'm picking them both up on my palette knife. Let's see. Kind of cool. Like I almost want to pick up a little bit of that too. A little bit of the chartreuse. Let's see what happens. I think that might work. Okay, let's see. Can you see? You can see. I'm going for it.
Oh, Sandy, look at your color combination. Love it.
And the trick is you can't over blend. So I'm going to start again.
No.
Don't over blend. Okay, I've got my concoction again. Okay, I'll put the excess over there and picking up more concoction. Okay, here we go. Put it down and woo. Maybe it needs a little bit of white action. Let's see what happens. Oof, yeah. Wow.
Sometimes I feel like we're just mad scientists, just
Absolutely.
like mixing things and
So I'm going to lift up and I'm actually going to do these words down here. There we go. I'm going to go right across. Let's see how that goes. I think I had a little too much white on there. Let me see if I can, oops, let me pick up a little bit of that sea foam. Okay, and then that might be just enough. Hold on, a little sea foam again. And I always say, don't overplay with it as I play with it. Don't overplay, but let's see. Okay, all right. Now I'm going to, I think I'm going to grab it from this corner and roll it away. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'm glad that I went back in and I put the excess down because I like how I got the hydrangea, chartreuse. You can see the sea foam in there. And then here for the words, I'll cut these out or I'll use a hole punch or something to get these words out. This is very sweet. That was an awesome combo. I love that.
Yeah, that is an amazing color combo suggestion.
Oh, that was nice. And now because I can, maybe I'll even do, so there's a bunch of fun things we can do with this. Let me grab a sponge brush. There it is. All right. There are a couple of things you can do. You can paint directly onto here and you'll get some pretty amazing stuff. Like I'm gonna pick up a whole big glop and I mean, you can just, I mean, this stuff is thick and delicious and gorgeous. And I mean, it leaves the brush strokes. It's so pretty. You could even make a design in it to do a background. Can you see,
Oh,
right?
that's a good idea.
Right. So this would be a nice strip just like that. So then another fun thing, if I wet this, I'm going to just dip it in some water. And now it becomes a watercolor. Very subtle, very pretty. But because it's stencil butter, you can't tell now because it's wet, but it actually is going to have a shimmer to it, which is a lot of fun. Now, another cool texture is called sponging. And let me pick up a little bit of the chartreuse. Okay, and exactly as you see it drying, is exactly how it's going to dry. So you see all these little, all of that little texture, that is what you will have. And I often like to take a hole punch and just to put some interesting things onto either my mixed media project, on my scrapbook layout, or on a card. I mean, that's some really fun texture right there. And by the way, any of these surfaces, you can also use any of your permanent markers on. That would be very, very pretty too. So when I have a whole bunch of stuff left over like this, sometimes I like to just pick it all up. You want to be careful that you're not making mud, but this makes a very interesting layer for your words to cut out of your out of a die. So you can, again, you can use your palette knife and you can do all sorts of cool stuff there. I'm going to pick up some of this hydrangea and a little more of the blue. And you see all these peaks. It honestly is going to dry with all of these peaks. Now, I know you didn't ask, but I'm going to show you anyway. If I put on with a palette knife some stencil butter and then hit it with the heat gun, yes, it will bubble. If you do it when it's wet, it's going. It reminds me of when my mom makes grilled cheese sandwiches in the oven, and you know how the cheese like totally pops up.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what it look like, which is kind of cool because then sometimes when it bubbles up, I've then let it cool and I smush it with my finger, so that makes another texture. I mean, just look at this palette knife painting, and imagine this instead of using ribbon. Imagine that you're cutting slivers and you're using those slivers on your project as well.
Oh, great idea.
So just gonna do a quickie with the heat gun. Oh, the surface is starting to have little bubbles. There it goes.
That's fun. I love that. Bubble your butter.
Hashtag bubble your butter. So the longer you leave it in one space, the longer you leave it in one place, the bigger the bubbles are going to be at this moment. But that's just a little bit of fun.
So I have another question here, Jamie.
Yes, ma'am.
Ronnie is wanting to know. Oh, sorry. Where did it go? What is the best ink to stamp words onto the backgrounds you make?
What is the best ink? Well, like a StazOn black is nice.
I'm guessing with the shimmer and shine of the background, I guess a StazOn would be best, or an archival.
Yeah, anything that you tip. What ink would you recommend on let's say shiny mirror paper? What would you tell somebody they could use?
Probably a StazOn would be the best. Anything that's got a bit of shine to it. Yeah.
That's how I would figure that out. So I see that my joy, remember we did the joy with the tacky when dry? I don't know if you, let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can show this to you. Oh, sort of.
Yep, there it is. I can see it.
Yeah.
Is it clear yet?
Yeah. So it's completely clear. I guess that's the point I'm making. It's not white anymore. It's completely clear. So I just want to do a quick tacky when dry demo. And I'm going to pick out a pretty color. Oh, I do love this new one. What gosh. This one is this one my hydrangea, eggplant? I'm trying to remember what color this one is. Do you remember? I've taken everything out of my
That looks like hydrangea.
think it is. Yeah.
Eggplant's darker, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I want to use. So here it is. It's clear. And what I found during the winter when my fingers were really too cold to be doing this, I noticed that if I heat up what I put Tecu and dry, if I heat it up a little bit, then it seems to work really well with the foil. So I'm only warming it. I am not bubbling it and I'm not burning my paper. So watch, it's like I'm just kind of warming it and it almost gets a little bit more glossy. And then I just take my foil with the pretty side up and I only use the ball of my finger. I don't use a tool and I just press on it. And then, oh, watch this. This is a great reveal. Can you see that?
Gorgeous.
And look at all the detail. Let me see. Are you able to see? Yeah. I mean, that detail. Look at that.
That is stunning.
I mean, look, I am a real fan of embossing powder, but when you want something that is like glass, with the foil, that's my jam. All right. Well, I think we're coming around to an hour, so I don't want to while I was talking, I was like sticking my hair up and let me see if I can rejigger this to say hello and goodbye. Let me see
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jamie. That was so amazing. I did this one right here. So I did make a card. So I also use the platinum Stardust butter, and then I used Distress Oxides.
I love that.
Yeah, isn't that gorgeous? Oh my gosh.
Little antique-y thing.
Yeah, I did. It's a little bit grungy. So yeah, love it. Gorgeous.
Nice.
But I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're getting lots of love here in the comments. Everyone's thanking you for so many great techniques. They said it's a great hour. They learned a lot. Thank you for all the information. Great demo. So thank you so much, Jamie. I love that you joined us here tonight. And thank you, everyone who joined in. Keep commenting, keep asking questions, and I will get to them as soon as possible. And don't forget, demo deal, 25% off everything, the Crafters Workshop. So yeah, it's a great time to save now that you know about all those gorgeous stencil butters.
Thank you.
And I think I need to restock the new 8 colors again because I've already seen a lot of them going out. So I'll be placing another Crafters Workshop order pretty soon.
We'll get it right out to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye.